Happy Monday to you all, and welcome again to the Believers Fellowship Daily Bible Reading. And this is Bible Time, just a little commentary that we provide to go along with what we're reading as we go through the Old Testament chapter by chapter together. And today, we have a special feast today because we're looking at chapters 28 and 29. I would encourage you to read chapter 29 and read it carefully. Because it talks about the way life was for Job before all these catastrophes happened. That's going to be contrasted with chapter 30 with what it's like now. So read chapter 29 carefully. Keep that all in mind. We'll be going over that, touching on that tomorrow as we talk about what it's like for him now after all of the catastrophes. But chapter 28 is the heart of the book. It's a real high point in really the whole Bible. Chapter 28, it talks about wisdom. And it contrasts finding wisdom with the efforts, the tremendous efforts that men will put out to get precious metals, precious stones. And you can see that detailed there throughout the chapter, the effort and the resources that they will go to in order to find these metals and these precious stones. And you know, you may have been to a place like that. I can remember going with my family to Tombstone, Arizona. Tombstone, Arizona is famous, maybe most famous for the shootout at the OK Corral and the individuals who were there, Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, things like that. But once you drive out to Tombstone, Arizona, which is out in the middle of nowhere, you go, what in the world is going on here? What was Wyatt Earp thinking? Why did Doc Holliday ever come here? Why was Tombstone, Arizona ever a important place? Well, here's the reason why. Because there were silver mines right there in Tombstone, Arizona, and that's what attracted people. That's what made it a booming city. Is people were there to mine for silver. That's the kind of efforts, that's the kind of places they'll go to. That's what people are willing to put up with in order to get the precious metals. But people don't put in that same kind of effort for gaining God's wisdom. And no matter how hard they try with their own efforts, they wouldn't be able to mine out God's wisdom. Verse 12 here says, "But where shall wisdom be found, and where is the place of understanding?" Yeah, man can't find it on his own. Verse 20, "From where then does wisdom come, and where is the place of understanding?" Man can't find it on their own. No amount of human effort can gain God's wisdom. Human technology can be astonishing. And, what they did was astonishing considering what they had available to them at their time. What we have now is astonishing, but no one can discern or know God's wisdom unless he reveals it to us. And that was the problem with Job's friends. They thought they had it all figured out. And that's a dangerous place for you and me to go when we think we've got it all figured out. We don't. We don't know why God is doing what he's doing. We don't know why all the events that are happening in our world are happening the way they are at the time they are. We don't know what they're eventually going to lead to because God hasn't revealed that to us. Wisdom, we are told, though, is more precious than stones, valuable stones, and it cannot be purchased with gold. It comes from God alone. Verse 23 says, "God understands the way to it, and he knows its place." Wisdom abides with God, and God has to make it known, or else nobody will know it. And it all abides with God because he does know it all, as verse 24 says. He did create it all, as verses 25 and 26 say, and can only be known. His wisdom can only be known as he declares it to us. And verse 28 is the summary of it all. And here's the thing you and I really need to think about. He said to man, "Behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom." And wisdom in this context is learning to live life skillfully, learning to live life the way God designed it. God's the one who created it all. He created it all in his wisdom. He sustains it all by his wisdom. And to live in wisdom is to live as life as he has designed it, and the fear of the Lord is what leads to that wisdom. And then it goes on to say, and to turn away from evil is understanding. So on the one hand, you have I'm fearing God. On the other hand, I'm turning away from evil. That's the way to live wisely. That's the way to live according to God's creation plan. And that's something that's repeated throughout what we call the poetic books, Job being one of them, Psalms being one of them as well. And in Psalm 111, verse 10, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All those who practice it have good understanding. That's the bottom line. It's the fear of the Lord. And in Proverbs 1:7, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. You might say that described Job's friends. And of course, we know Proverbs 9:7 says, whoever, it's Proverbs 9:10 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. And you know what's interesting about this, as you think about this, the measures that men will go through to uncover precious stones and gold, and yet through all their efforts, they can't uncover God's wisdom. They can't know all that God knows. All they can know is what God has revealed. And so the bottom line is for us to fear the Lord and turn away from evil as He has revealed it to us. Those are the very things, those are the very terms that God used to describe Job. Do you remember that? Do you remember Job, how he was described by God at the very beginning of the book, in the very first verse? It says, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. That man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. He was walking in wisdom. Verse 8 of chapter 1 says, the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil? And then again in chapter 2, verse 3, the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil? He still holds fast his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him without reason. And so wisdom is what's being extolled here, and fear of the Lord, turning away from evil, that's what's at the bottom of walking in wisdom. And that's the thing for you and me to take away. Wisdom is the most valuable thing, more valuable than precious metals, precious stones, and it comes from God, and we receive it from God by walking in the fear of the Lord and turning away from evil. We have to leave the unanswered questions to God, and we must trust Him and submit to what He has revealed to us. What a great way to start off our week. What a great way to start off a Monday, thinking about fearing the Lord and turning away from evil. That's where wisdom resides. I trust that you'll walk in wisdom this week, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow when we'll do more Bible time.